Good morning, Quadcopter 101 here, and I got another Helic Max for you today. This is the Helic Max 1332C camera quadcopter with altitude hold. As you can see, this is a tiny little quadcopter intended to be a backpack camera quadcopter with altitude hold to help steady your video. Again, 2 megapixel. Its camera is right here in the front. And instead of on a belly, that's good. I don't like those belly-mounted cameras, to tell you the truth. This one's built into the quadcopter, and it seems to be pointed relatively good, forward instead of downward, like we see a lot of quadcopters. I don't understand why these companies insist on pointing downward with their cameras. I prefer to see the horizon when I'm flying. Its SD card slot is vertical, which is unusual. So you put your card into the into the quadcopter like so. So it goes in vertically instead of horizontally as you see on most other quadcopters. The battery comes with this is a little 300 milliampere hour, but its battery bay is very big, so it can fit just about all 350s, 380s, 400 milliampere hour standard micro quadcopter batteries. The generic versions will work with this. So there's plenty of batteries available for this out on the market. And one other thing is, a lot of quadcopters have you try to push these wires into the battery bay. This one accommodates with 2 little holes, so you can plug the batteries outside of the battery bay. Why would you want to do that? Well, if you keep pushing those battery or cables into the battery bay, you are going to fatigue fail the battery connection to the circuit board. So you don't want to do that. This is a good way to do it. Just keep the wires outside, and that way you won't cause any damage to the circuit board through repeated use. And it also has an on-off switch, which of course is always a plus. Let's go over the transmitter. Transmitter is actually kind of cool looking. This is for varying the rates by pressing this one, beginner, intermediate, expert, or holding it down for headless mode. This is for activating flips or entering 1 key return by holding it down. To turn on the motors, you press into the pitch roll stick, and that'll have the motors enter into idle. And to turn them off, you press it once more. To activate the video camera, you press this button here, and that'll turn it on and turn it off. And to take a photo, you press this button here. And these trim buttons are actually trim buttons for pitch, for roll, and for yaw. So that's in effect. Let's turn on the quadcopter and go right into a flight of this little headless mode and altitude hold quadcopter. Pointing it down the field, binding it to the quadcopter. And I am going to do something. I'm going to see if I can calibrate the gyros, and both the gyros and the compass for headless mode. And that should be the new headless mode bearing, and also this should be relatively calibrated, so when we take off, hopefully it'll be steady flight. So activating the motors and turning on, actually let's turn off the motors and turn on the camera first. Camera is recording. Activating the motors. Giving a little throttle. And I see a little go forward movement, so let's adjust the trim a bit. Okay, trim is good. Trim to the right a bit. And what is that? Notice the little bounce it's got. Well, let's fly it around a bit. Go into higher rate. It's altitude hold. I don't know about its altitude hold. Let's bring it in to show you that. This is the altitude hold on it. It's going up and down, so kind of funky on the altitude hold. Let's bring it around. I hope its camera's good. Let's go up a little bit higher. Right to about there. And fly it around. So yeah, the altitude hold on this is kind of funky. Bounces around a bit. And we'll come back toward ourselves. Okay, let's bring it down lower again, and we'll try out the headless mode and 1 key return. Actually, before we do that, let's try flip while we still got battery power. Whoa! I was pulling down. What I did there, folks, was I was pulling down on the throttle to bring it down. It was because it was coming down kind of slowly, in my opinion. But that turned off the motors, so keep that in mind. Let's turn off that camera. See if we got any indication on the belly that tells us if we're recording or not. I'm going to press the battery bay opened up a little bit. Let's press the video recorder again. Okay, the back green lights flash to let you know that you are recording. So we're recording once more. Let's go back into the air. And this time we'll go out that way and press 1 key return. Actually, it sounds like headless mode to me. Let's press this one then. That's pressing that button there. Okay, that is 1 key return. Okay, let's bring it back in closer here. I think that was the flip button I had activated. Let's try the flips on this. Flip. Well, it can flip. Okay, let's go back to the 1 key return. We'll fly over that direction. And 1 key return. And it's flying off in that direction. So, keep in mind, 1 key return only works if you're flying down the headless mode direction, and you got to determine what that is, and it seems to be over this direction right now. So we'll go over here, press headless mode, and it's flying back. Okay, bringing it down lower, we'll go right into headless mode. Holding that button down. So apparently it thinks that's the headless mode direction. Left. So the headless mode direction seems to vary with this as it flies. Coming out of headless mode. Okay. We are still recording, aren't we? Let's bring it overhead. Yep, we got the green flashing light on us. But again, let's look at this. How it's maintaining its altitude hold. It goes up and down, up and down. And go a little forward. Forward push. Backward push. Right push. And it goes into vortex ring state too. I don't know what that was. So, yeah, I think that Helic Max needs to work out a little bit of these issues, particularly look at that altitude hold. It's not working. Oh, and it goes into, turn off the motors, folks, remember that. It goes into vortex ring state too. Okay, let's turn off the camera. Remember, motor's off. I don't know what that is, folks. It's stuck on. And I'm trying to turn off the motors. What about if I pull down on the throttle switch? No, that's not doing anything. Pressing that, it's not doing anything, so we are going to turn it off. Okay, I think that's enough for today's flight. Yeah, this is the Helic Max 1332C. Little altitude hold quadcopter, but it appears to have little bugs that needs to be worked out by Helic Max before it's ready for prime time. Hope you enjoy this flight. Quadcopter 101, signing out.